When she was born, her parents named her Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell. This was in December 2001, in a city famous for being the cradle of many artists, Los Angeles, California. Her childhood is different from other children's. Maggie, her mom, is an actress, screenwriter, and former theater teacher, while Patrick, her dad, is an actor and a musician. They want a special education for her and her other son named Phineas. For this reason, they decide not to take them to a traditional school and, instead, educate them at home. In this first stage of her life, Billie begins listening to the music her parents and Phineas like, which leads her to find her musical taste in artists like the Beatles, Frank Sinatra, Green Day, among other different artists and musical genres. One of these important genres that Billie eventually begins to like is hip-hop, but later you will see why I mention it. Similarly, and as she grows, the girl begins to take an interest in pop, especially the music of singer Justin Bieber, who becomes her great idol. But not just a simple idol. The girl comes to love the artist, to the point of wondering if one day, when she gets married, she will be able to feel the same thing she feels for him. This is something I want you to remember well, because it will have a precious ending. Throughout her childhood, her parents play a key role. The mother teaches Billie and her brother to write, dance, and express themselves to the world. The father passes on his passion for music, teaching them to compose and play instruments like the piano or the ukulele. This artistic environment allows both children to obtain musical skills at a very early age, something that will become the foundation of a career that will take off in no time. As Billie grows, she starts becoming part of the city choir and participating in talent contests. At every step, she is always accompanied by her closest circle, her parents and her brother. They are a great support and give her the confidence she needs to keep pursuing her passion for music, something that little by little helps her find her own style as an artist. So far so good, but as Billie keeps growing, she and her family begin to notice some involuntary reactions in her body. These symptoms, which are mild at first, intensify over time, until finally they have to take her to the doctor. After several studies and consultations, they discover that these tics are the product of Tourette syndrome, which she has started to suffer from. If you don't know it, I'll tell you that this syndrome is a neurological disorder that affects voluntary motor and vocal control. That is, it causes spontaneous movement or sound tics that a person cannot control. The tics can be physical, like rapid blinking, head movements, arm jerking, or vocal, like coughing, words and phrases that come out unintentionally. These involuntary reactions are usually more noticeable when the person is under stress, anxiety, or nervousness, and this can affect the daily life of the sufferer, especially in social contexts, since people may feel uncomfortable due to the tics, and this pressure intensifies the symptoms. But this disorder is not an impediment to living a normal life, since over time some people manage to find ways to control them. In fact, Billie says in interviews that, throughout her life, some people react to her tics with laughter, thinking she does them to be funny, which, in her own words, offends her a lot, since it is not something she can control. This diagnosis is difficult, as it now seems she will have to live with something new that will negatively affect her security and confidence. But at least she finds some extra activities to distract herself, like dance classes or a small hobby she begins to develop, which consists of making her own music videos for songs by other artists she likes. This seems to affect her self-esteem quite a bit, and although she learns to deal with it over time, now it becomes a motivation to transform those feelings into her own songs, where she finds a form of escape. However, the creative process of writing songs is not as easy as it seems, and for the girl, it starts to become complicated. None of her creations manage to transmit what she really wants to express. It is then that Phineas, who at this point is already an adolescent, becomes an important part of this story. He knows his sister very well and knows the talent she has, so he decides to help her write. This is the first time her brother gets involved to help her in this way, but it won't be the last. Over time, he will become a key piece in music composition, in her most difficult personal moments, and in the crises that will come with the growing weight of fame. But we will see that as we advance. As I told you before, these two siblings grew up surrounded by creativity and support from their parents. Phineas, in particular, was developing an incredible talent for composing. While Billie kept looking for her path, he got fully into acting and ended up participating in series like Glee, Modern Family, and even in the movie Bad Teacher. But not only that, the boy joined a band called the Slightlies, where he begins to sing, write songs, and learn about music production. It seems as if everything had been prepared for this moment, since his experience in acting turns out to be an efficient resource to put himself in his sister's shoes and help her compose. To give her a hand, the boy focuses on creating songs that fit her voice and style, but above all, on stories she can genuinely connect with. During these artistic sessions, Billie and her brother explore their emotions together, exchange ideas, and work on every lyric until finding the perfect balance between sound and feeling. The girl starts jotting down ideas in a notebook. She also draws feelings she wants to capture in her music, and even creates sketches for future music videos. In one of her ideas, she imagines a video where she cries black tears, and in another using wings as part of the visual narrative. And if you know Billie's career a little, this might sound like something you've heard or seen before. Together they decide to record some of these lyrics in their bedroom, although just for fun. For this, Phineas uses Logic Pro, music production software that allows them to record, edit, and mix tracks until the end. In this period, Fingers Crossed is born, a song inspired by The Walking Dead, the famous series where zombies dominate the world. With her brother's help, Billie manages to merge her fascination for the series with her music, creating lyrics that describe how a love story would feel in a post-apocalyptic context, which is really impressive for someone her age. The collaboration between them is incredible, and although they have always been very close, this brings them even closer. Creating music becomes a shared pastime, something they enjoy together. And although they continue with their daily activities, they always find time to record music. One day in dance class, they ask Billie to choose a song for a choreography and bring it. When she tells her brother, he has a great idea. Give her a song he had written for his band, called Ocean Eyes, because he had already tried to record it with his group, but due to vocal registers, voices, and feelings, he decided it might suit Billie better. The idea is for the girl to interpret it and for him to produce it. That way, instead of bringing a song by another artist, she could bring one of her own to dance to. So they get to work and begin bringing the song to life. They like the results so much that they decide to record a simple video in their room, without many expectations. It's just Billie singing in front of the camera, with smeared makeup and some smoke in the background, something she already had experience in. The siblings upload the song to a music sharing platform called SoundCloud, with the idea of making it more accessible for the dance presentation. However, this ends up being the start of something much bigger. Without knowing it, they have just taken the first step towards a career that will change their lives forever. Ocean Eyes begins to go viral quickly on the platform. Its hypnotic sound, profound lyrics, and the delicacy of Billie's voice, which seems to be on the verge of crying, begins to catch the attention of many people. The song reaches hundreds of thousands of plays in a matter of weeks and becomes a viral phenomenon on social media. Even though downloads keep going up, the siblings don't worry too much about the success they might have. They simply go on with their lives. Around this time, the girl is forced to stop dancing due to a hip injury, which is a hard blow for her, since it is one of her greatest passions and what, in the first place, had led her to publish Ocean Eyes. Although it is a difficult stage, she tries to move forward in the best way possible. Meanwhile, the song they created together doesn't stop gaining popularity, and that catches the attention of the music industry. It is clear that whoever is behind this has great talent for creating hits. Offers don't take long to arrive, and finally, Phineas reaches an agreement with Interscope Records, thus securing a contract for Billie. This is another important moment where her brother supports her. He assumes the role of producer and co-writer, a task with many responsibilities, but one he takes with pleasure so that together they can continue creating songs, always respecting the style Billie wants for her music. Now, with the financial support they have secured, they continue working in the same room where it all began, but this time with the focus of launching their projects more professionally, always with the same passion and dedication that has accompanied them from the beginning. And while they already had success once, now they need a more massive approach. So Billie's team starts to grow. A publicist and a stylist join in order to define an image that fits her style. And also around these moments, she changes her artistic name a bit. Now, she officially begins using the already well-known Billie Eilish. The style Billie adopts from the beginning is quite peculiar. Instead of following the typical pop trend with tight dresses, bright colors, and styles designed to highlight the figure, she prefers wearing long shirts, baggy pants and sneakers, a look closer to urban culture and hip-hop. This choice, far from being superficial, says a lot about her stance facing an industry that, especially in the case of female artists, usually puts emphasis on the form rather than the substance. In the figure of the contemporary pop star, often the visual goes ahead of the musical. They're built as brands more than as artists. They take care of every aesthetic detail, design viral looks, promote their lifestyle on networks, and turn their bodies into part of the show. There's nothing intrinsically wrong with that. In fact, it is even understandable, because there exists a market where attention is ephemeral and competition is fierce. So, image becomes a powerful tool to stand out. Many artists have used it strategically to boost their careers, but Billie has chosen another path, a riskier one. At least in appearance, a less commercial one. And although for the moment she hasn't said publicly why she dresses like that, her image already begins to make a difference, because in a landscape saturated with artists who prioritize form, Billie begins to draw attention precisely because she is not trying to. Although this decision may later bring her some problems, so remember that detail because it will be important. Now, with her style defined, the siblings don't take long to release a second single titled 6 Feet Under, accompanied by another homemade video. Like the previous one, this becomes another viral success on social media. In this song, the girl talks about death, pain, and sadness, using her characteristic melancholic voice, managing to transmit the feeling of being trapped in a love that no longer has a future but refuses to disappear. This honest way of addressing topics that many identify with seems to be another important part of the rapid growth of her career as a singer. With the success of this song, they begin releasing music more frequently. She releases singles like Bellyache, which has a more cheerful rhythm compared to her previous songs, and Bored, which comes to be part of the popular series 13 Reasons Why, produced by Selena Gomez. Thanks to this, fame skyrockets in a short time. More and more new songs begin to be requested by the public, so the next step is releasing an EP. It doesn't require as much time as a full album, but it includes more songs so her newly formed fans can enjoy. They title this project Don't Smile at Me, and it becomes an immediate success, reaching number 14 on the Billboard 200. This leads Billie to undertake her first promotional tour, where songs like Watch, Hostage, and Party Favor, in which she plays the ukulele herself, become the most acclaimed by the public. Thanks to the tour, Billie visits several cities, even some in Europe. Things are going incredible for her. Her presentations are very personal, which allows her to connect with many people who feel identified with her lyrics. Her brother is always by her side, accompanying her on trips, and they continue making music together. Everything seems to be going wonderfully for her, but the start of fame brings many responsibilities she wasn't used to. It is no longer just about composing in a bedroom, but about complying with an agenda full of interviews, commitments, and a workload that over time becomes increasingly difficult to handle. Let's remember that adolescence is not easy to go through, and Billie is living all that while she keeps working. Despite all this, the girl continues dealing with Tourette syndrome and the difficulty of facing social situations. So as the tour progresses, her anxiety increases. In fact, in some shows, her fans throw gifts at her, but unintentionally some end up hitting her, which causes situations that generate great discomfort. It seems that due to all this, Billie starts facing episodes of depression and self-esteem problems, commitments with her record label, and the pressure of an entire industry watching her career increase every day, especially because she is still very young. She herself, growing up, has commented in interviews that during this period it was so difficult for her to cope with her internal conflicts that sometimes she would stare out the window in some hotel room, thinking about ending it all. But this pain would end up being channeled into making songs, true works of art. Things get worse for the girl, because as Billie's fame grows, so do the criticisms. There are those who think she only fakes sadness to sell songs, but others also mock or criticize her for her way of dressing. And it is at this point when Billie breaks the silence and explains something that, until then, she hadn't said clearly. She uses baggy clothes to protect herself, because that way no one can have an opinion about her body. No one can say if she is too thin, if she gained weight, if she has curves or not, because no one can criticize what no one can see. It is a way of making her body invisible in front of an industry and a public that tends to observe, measure, and opine, even when no one asks them to. This decision is also an artistic statement, because Billie wants people to listen to what she has to say, to pay attention to her music, to her voice, to her lyrics, and not to whether she meets or not the aesthetic standards that usually surround female pop stars. It is a stance that goes against the current of what is usually seen nowadays, in a landscape where many artists bet on their image as a central part of their proposal, and it is valid that they do so. Billie chooses another path, not selling herself from the visual but from the emotional. Even so, not everyone understands it. There are those who cannot tolerate a young artist deciding not to please the gaze of others, as if it were an obligation to fit into a certain aesthetic to deserve attention. But Billie stands firm, and although we don't know if this approach will be enough to protect her from such a demanding industry, what she has made clear is something not many dare to say out loud. My value is not in how I look. I am here for you to listen to me. These comments, far from being constructive, only seem to make her feel even worse, adding one more emotional burden to everything she already faces. But note, this isn't something everyone thinks. For her most loyal followers, the look she wears and the feelings her songs transmit become something that distinguishes her from the rest of the artists, making her authentic and unique. While all this happens, Finneas remains by her side, giving her a hand in everything he can. However, the work never ends. After the promotional tour and having created great expectations, the moment arrives to release Billie's first album, a highly anticipated project. For this, they return to the dynamic from before, recording sessions done in Finneas's bedroom. Look at them. There you have the two of them, among the most important figures of the moment in the industry. And instead of working in more comfortable and professional studios, we see Finneas producing on his computer and Billie recording each take under his directions. But for this project, they're cooking up. It is no longer just about releasing a song or two for fun. Now they have to create a full album that is up to par. And here is where the problems must begin. The deadline approaches, and Billie seems not to feel satisfied with what they have so far. External pressure only worsens her frustration, turning the creative process into something exhausting, both for her and for Phineas. In fact, they tell in interviews later on that at this stage they argued constantly because both felt fed up with working under that pressure. Even less time remains, and the girl is still not happy with the album. She thinks it sounds horrible, and that she can't sound good because she feels she isn't good. Phineas reminds her that she is very good and that many people think the same as him, but for Billie this becomes suffocating. Now she hates writing, hates recording, and comes to think about not making another album after this one. Fortunately, the siblings find different ways to distract themselves and make the process more pleasant. Thanks to this, Billie manages to find the focus she needed for the album, using each song as a way to release her darkest thoughts. She also gives free rein to her creativity, and for the debut, a music video is made for When the Party's Over, which was originally a single, now forms part of her debut. She creates it herself based on an idea she had a while ago, a video you have probably already seen. If you haven't, I'll tell you why it became so viral. Billie is sitting in front of a glass with a black liquid that she drinks, and upon finishing it, that liquid transforms into black tears running down her face. A super powerful and emotional scene that leaves a strong impression, especially because of how real the tears look coming out of her eyes. It's so cool that I wondered, how did they make the tears look so real? And I found this. What you see here is the behind the scenes, where a production team helped her make it a reality. To achieve this, small tubes were used that went from the glass, passing through her forehead to her tear ducts. The rest is the result of her acting and post-production. With all these emotions poured into a single project and an aesthetic inspired by horror, 2019 is the year when we all fall asleep, Where Do We Go comes to light. In a short time, the record reaches #1 on the Billboard 200, both in the United States and the United Kingdom. Thus, Billie becomes the first artist born in the 2000s to top the charts in both countries. Regarding the songs, I would like to highlight some that we will be developing as the girl goes through this stage. The first is Listen Before I Go, which has phrases like, "Take me to the rooftop," "I want to see the world when I stop breathing," or "Better hurry because I'm leaving soon." Phrases that border on worrying. In fact, while working on this song, her mother asks her if she doesn't think it's too strong to write something so raw. But Billie replies that precisely putting these feelings into words is what helps her face them and prevent them from becoming a reality. It is her way of dealing with them. This can be seen as a way of channeling her pain and at the same time making visible something that isn't always pretty, but which many people go through. And with this, the girl starts giving shape to something much bigger, a space where those who listen to her can be vulnerable and feel understood by someone who is going through similar moments. And in her biographical documentary, she says something that perfectly reflects this. "I look into the crowd and I see all those faces, so many feelings and heartbreaks. Every person there is going through something, whether good, terrible, or fabulous. And the least I can do is the art I make because I have the same problems." The connection that begins to emerge with her fans leads her to reach unstoppable fame before turning 18. This fame grants her economic freedom, and for her birthday she receives the car of her dreams. All these things fill her with satisfaction. But the problem is that everything comes with a sacrifice. With this album come more awards, more interviews, and another tour. Billie says that seeing the schedule with everything she has to do in the year, she feels overwhelmed and stays completely silent while crying. Her promotional tour for the EP sank her emotionally, and the pressure that comes with a tour for an album is much bigger, and that overwhelms her. But she has no choice. The new tour starts, and every time Billie gets on stage, she gives it her all. She dances, jumps, and completely surrenders to her audience. With every show, she takes her music and her message to every corner of the world. But behind that energy and connection with her art, there's a Billie who continues struggling with mixed feelings about fame. Besides dealing with the pains she still drags from her hip injury, this period becomes one of the darkest of her life. Her tics, caused by Tourette syndrome, become increasingly evident on camera, and a critical moment arrives where it seems everything is about to collapse. To prevent this from happening, both her brother and her parents support her at all times. Phineas accompanies her to her shows, is present in some interviews, and on occasions even goes up on stage with her. He's always there, making sure she is okay and offering her his unconditional support. Regarding her career, every one of her songs except Goodbye enters the Billboard Hot 100, setting a new record for a female artist with 14 tracks simultaneously on the list. One that becomes most viral is Bad Guy, which has a catchy beat and somewhat racier content. With a larger budget for the music video, the aesthetic plays with the roles of good and bad in an ironic way. The idea is to parody the stereotypes of the music industry, all with Billie's characteristic mocking tone and unique style. Something I found incredibly curious about this song is that the idea for the rhythm arises thanks to a button to cross the street in Australia. While Billie's family was walking through the streets of that place, they noticed that the pedestrian crossing assistance sound was quite rhythmic, which caught Billie's father's attention. Phineas saw the vision instantly, and that sound was what became a big part of the track for the song Bad Guy. Here I leave the audio so it becomes clearer. This song doesn't just stay as a worldwide viral hit, it allows her to fulfill one of her childhood dreams. Thanks to Bad Guy, Justin Bieber gets to know her and decides to release a remix with her, making what seemed like a distant dream become a reality. It is an incredible moment for the girl, a validation of her talent and an opportunity few could imagine. The Bad Guy remix becomes a success, but what really marks this moment is their meeting, which goes viral because of how emotional it is. Sometime later, Justin travels to surprise Billie and meet her in person. Billie cannot believe what is happening. She has a hard time assimilating that she is finally in front of him, and for a moment it seems nerves take over her. But as soon as they hug, all those nerves dissipate. Together they enjoy the moment, laugh, dance, and she even snuggles into his chest to cry from emotion. It is a moment so real and so genuine that you can't avoid feeling happiness seeing this girl making her dreams come true. Her reaction, full of emotion and surprise, reminds us that as much as she is a superstar, Billie is still a teenager experiencing the world in the same way as any of us. The most beautiful thing about all this is that somehow this connection she feels with Justin is the same her fans experience with her. Because her followers don't see her only as a famous singer, but as someone real, someone they can identify with, someone who feels things very similar to them. And that is one of the reasons why Billie maintains such a close relationship with her fans, because she knows what it is to feel that admiration towards someone just for their art. After an unforgettable night for the girl, Justin sends her a private message that touches her heart. He reminds her how valuable she is to so many people, how impressive her aura and presence are, and that he appreciates her not only for what she does, but also for who she is. Billie receives the message together with her family. Her brother, as always, looks at her with the same admiration he has had since day one, that which has never changed. Everyone around her knows what she is worth, but it seems she is the last one to realize it. This leads me to mention another of the most powerful songs belonging to this debut album, one that bears the name Everything I Wanted. Although this song was included in the reissue of her album, it is impossible not to speak of it. In the music video, we see Billie and Phineas in a car, with her at the wheel. While she drives, the car falls into the water and sinks into the depths. This moment symbolizes how, despite being immersed in her own fears and doubts, her brother has always been there to support her. In the song's lyrics, Billie expresses what we have been seeing. Someone who sincerely loves her tries to make her see her own worth, encouraging her to stop questioning why some people don't know how to appreciate her as they should. The phrases, "If I could change the way you see yourself," or "As long as I'm here, no one can hurt you," reflect everything her brother has gone through by her side, accompanying her to the bottom of the darkness. And sometimes it seems her internal dialogue is so negative that it makes her doubt herself. During the creation of her album, Billie said she didn't consider herself good at what she did, nor that she sang well. But that isn't reality. Billie created a work of art difficult to match, something unique reflecting her essence and soul. But here Justin's words seem to have played a fundamental role. Because of this, and actually because of everything she has lived through, it seems Billie finally begins to understand what she has become. From this moment on, it seems she begins to work on herself. While preparing for more presentations, Billie also takes time to be with her loved ones, and that rejection she felt towards tours starts to fade. Now her fans have become an important part of her life. This time she embarks on a tour around the world and now starts enjoying it. She takes many photos with her fans, gives them words of encouragement, and creates a unique experience for her audience in every show. Like, for example, singing one of her most emotional songs on a hanging bed next to her brother, symbolizing the place where all this musical journey madness began. And although sometimes the pressure of social events manages to overwhelm her a bit, she continues counting on an important support network that drives her to keep going. Thanks to all this very personal work, Billie is nominated for the Grammys. She receives a total of 6 nominations, including Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year for Bad Guy, and Best New Artist, making her the youngest artist to be nominated in the 4 main categories. The day of the awards arrives, and when the moment comes to announce the winners, she makes history by winning all of them and goes up on stage to receive her awards accompanied by her brother. This moment positions her as a global musical phenomenon, all thanks to her effort, passion, and dedication in creating the album. And let's not forget something that makes it even more incredible. The album was recorded almost entirely in a regular bedroom. As a curious fact, that night, after the awards, Justin makes a video call to congratulate her and tell her how proud he is of her. What Billie Eilish achieves that night at the Grammys is something more than impressive. She wins Album of the Year, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Best New Artist, 4 of the most important awards in the industry, all in a single night. And the most surprising thing isn't that she achieved it, but the way in which she did it. In an industry where the majority bets first on form, that is, on aesthetics, image, presence on networks, looks carefully designed to attract attention, Billie decided to take the opposite path. Bet everything on the substance. She focused on her music, on her lyrics, on her sensitivity, on building a sonic and emotional universe that didn't need costumes to connect with millions of people. She focused on the content being so powerful that it didn't need ornaments. And she worked on it so much, cared for it so much that it wasn't necessary for the form to speak for her. The substance was enough, and it spoke so loudly that the whole world listened. After this, the siblings carry out collaborations. Among them, the main theme for the 25th movie of the James Bond saga, No Time to Die, which makes Billie the youngest artist in history to interpret a song for the iconic franchise. The girl wins many recognitions for her art in this stage. However, she never forgets that her success wouldn't be possible without her brother's unconditional support, and she acknowledges it constantly. There's an annual event called Hitmakers by a magazine called Variety, where people who create and promote the most important songs of the year are recognized. In that event, Billie takes the opportunity to express her gratitude in an emotional speech. "Thank you so much to my big brother Phineas. He is my best friend, my big brother. He is 4 years older than me, and we have been inseparable forever. He is responsible for everything that plays, the producer of every song. Phineas is the reason I am here, the reason I exist, and probably the only reason I am still alive." From here on, presentations and the love of her fans worldwide continue multiplying, while Billie keeps growing both professionally and personally. With the passage of time, Billie seems to start feeling better about herself. She wears baggy clothes, but not like before. The year 2020 arrives. Due to the pandemic hitting the world, Billie is forced to cancel her shows. However, fashion events return in the following months with necessary precautions, and Billie is invited to several of these glamorous places with sessions for important magazines. In this case, Met Gala. Being one of the most important singers of the moment, she becomes one of the most awaited guests at the Met Gala. The girl, of course, attends, but shocks everyone with a completely new way of dressing. Going from her characteristic style of baggy clothes to a tight dress with a vintage hairstyle showing a more mature and sophisticated version of her. And so, during the following editions of the coming years, her style continues evolving. First with a dress full of contrasts, and later with a black dress with a corset combining a classic touch with her rebellious style. In fact, on one of these red carpets, Billie says she always wanted to do something like that. She explains, "I wasn't comfortable in my own skin, and now I am happy to have finally done it." Words that highlight how her confidence and esteem for herself have grown, demonstrating an evolution both personal and professional. But this isn't the only moment that surprises the world with that. But a short time later, Billie stars in a photo shoot for Vogue magazine. And this time she leaves her usual style totally behind. She shows herself with a corset with cleavage and a look inspired by classic Hollywood. This new approach seems to reflect her personal growth and empowerment. A confidence in herself that she has surely acquired through demonstrating to herself again and again that regardless of her image, her art already speaks for itself and doesn't need to adjust to any standard to connect with people. And while baggy clothes continue being part of her style, this turn becomes a total change for her public image, showing she is willing to break expectations and try new styles as long as she feels comfortable with them. From here on, it could be said that the girl becomes a symbol for many, and the works that follow are one better than the other. Her second studio album is titled Happier Than Ever and comes out in 2021. It includes songs like the powerful song under the same name, which keeps taking her to the top. With a more complex production carried out again by her brother, the album fuses genres like pop, jazz, bossa nova, and alternative rock, demonstrating her evolution as an artist. Meanwhile, Billie keeps releasing incredible collaborations like the song What Was I Made For? For the movie Barbie. The curious thing is that this song was one of the ones that took them the least time to make. In just half an hour, they had it ready. But despite how fast the creation was, it was one of the hardest to record for Billie. The tone is very high, and although it is within her range, achieving that falsetto so soft and making it sound good is not easy at all. The song needed to transmit that feeling of a broken heart, as if it were a last sigh after having cried, and in the end, it became one of her best interpretations. The impressive thing is that this song became a resounding success. Billie and Phineas ended up winning an Oscar for Best Original Song, as well as 2 Grammy Awards, Song of the Year and Best Song Written for Visual Media. On the night of the awards, the siblings were invited to perform it live. Phineas played the piano, while Billie sang with that voice so characteristic of hers, so sweet but also powerful. It was a super emotional moment, especially because he also joined in the backing vocals, and one could see that deep connection they continue sharing through music. With this achievement, the girl becomes the youngest person in history to win 2 Oscar awards in any category. Furthermore, her theme joins the select list of songs that have obtained both the Grammy and an Oscar. Finally, her third album arrives, Hit Me Hard and Soft, a project that marks a stage of total freedom for Billie without fear of controversy. In songs like Lunch, she openly addresses her sexual identity, while Birds of a Feather becomes one of the most popular themes of the year. To give you an idea of the impact of this project, on Spotify it accumulates millions of plays, becoming the best streaming debut of her career. To this day, year 2025, Billie is seen more relaxed, enjoying something that at the beginning cost her. In an interview, she said, "I've reached a point where I'm finally okay. It's not because I'm famous, it's not because I have a little more money. Being famous is great, but it was horrible for a year. Now I love what I do. and I'm me again, the good me, and I love the eyes on me.